Do you want bigger biceps? 21s is an old school bodybuilding method for muscle growth. Learn the benefits of doing full range of motion followed by partial reps. Hey everyone, Daniel Vadnal, physio here for Fitness FAQs. 21s, they're commonly used for bicep curls at the gym. Here's how to do them with chin-ups. You're going to start with 7 reps, full range of motion, chin above the bar, and then lowering down into a dead hang. Without stopping, continue to 7 top range partials, chin above the bar, down to 90 degrees, and then going back and forth. Finishing off with 7 bottom range partials, coming up halfway, lowering down slowly with control, and then repeating that until you've done 21 reps. This is called a mechanical drop set. A mechanical drop set is where the set gets easier towards the end as fatigue kicks in. Full range of motion is the hardest, followed by top range partials, which are slightly less hard, and then finishing off with bottom range partials, which are the easiest. Why should you do 21s and what are the benefits? Fun is the biggest selling point. 21s is just a way of invigorating the basics to make the tried and true a bit more novel, a bit more interesting, and it's just an enjoyable way to spice things up. Not everything has to be about optimal hypertrophy or optimal strength. Sometimes we do things just for the sake of it, to have fun. If we're honest, we can really start going through the motions with our workouts. We can do similar sets, reps, and before we know it, we've done the same thing for a long time, and that's not a good way to create change because we need that stimulus in order to adapt. With 21s, you're genuinely pushing yourself to your muscular limits, to the brink of your mental and physical capabilities. And this is something that we should do from time to time, just to understand how much we can actually give, how much we can actually push with our training, because there's this whole thing of, don't go to failure because it's fatiguing. But if you never go to failure or beyond, you don't know where that point is for you. So 21s are a good test and a good proxy for intensity and showing you what you're capable of. Muscle growth is the main benefit of 21s. We know that we need to push ourselves hard towards failure or beyond in order to reach our potential, maximize muscle growth. When you're doing 21s properly, those last 7 reps are going to be genuine. You're going to be trying as hard as you can to get up to half range of motion. It's going to be impossible for you to do the full range of motion. This is completely exhausting your muscles, and it's guaranteed to stimulate hypertrophy in the biceps and also your back. The pump when you do 21s is simply an awesome feeling. You're getting the combination of full range plus top partials plus bottom partials, and it just engorges your biceps with so much blood and all these other metabolites, lactic acid, other fancy stuff. Basically, after your set, you're going to feel like a damn beast as you walk around. You've probably added a few inches to your arms of just pure blood. And that feeling of the pump, you look in the mirror, you see that immediate transformation. It's immediate gratification. It makes you feel good. It's a fun way to have that sensation in your body. You might take a few photos for Instagram, just looking your best, perhaps a little bit of downlighting, and that will really create this sense of positive feedback. I can get bigger, I can push myself, look at how my physique can change, look at how I can perform, and the pump never gets old. With 21s, we're doing a ton of volume, but it doesn't feel like it. And the reason for this is we're breaking the setup into 7 rep increments. If I was to tell you, do 21 chin-ups and count up from 0, it would feel so mentally exhausting. It'd seem like some insurmountable mountain, and you'd psych yourself out, and maybe you wouldn't even get the 21 reps. Whereas by doing 1 to 7, 1 to 7, and then you're also doing different ranges of motion, it just seems achievable. And it, in the moment, allows you to stay more present with your technique in that full ROM, top ROM, bottom ROM. And before you know it, you've completed the 21. You've done a ton of volume. What's obvious to me with 21s is it's a novel stimulus to spark dormant growth and new pathways. Because we're doing those top range and bottom range partials, in addition to full ROM, we're really overloading the biceps in both their contracted and lengthened position, which is something that's quite refreshing within one exercise itself. We either usually do full ROM, or we might focus on exercises that work that top range or really emphasize the bottom range. within one movement, within one set. It's pretty fun. There's something to be said about getting stronger through the use of partial reps with 21s. We know that strength is specific to the exercise and the range of motion trained. We spend most of our time doing full range of motion chin-ups. Fantastic. It's comprehensive, but many people have sticking points at the bottom as well as the top. So by doing some extra homework, integrating in some top range and bottom range partials with these 21s, you're going to improve those parts of the exercise too. Increased grip strength is a welcome byproduct of doing 21s because your set lasts longer than usual. You're hanging on the bar for much longer than you would a normal set of chin-ups. Expect this increased time under tension to smoke your forearms. Your flexors are going to get so strong. Your crushing grip is also going to improve. So when we can find these side benefits that come from doing something different, it sparks our motivation to push ourselves with it because we know why we're doing it is also benefiting us in all these other ways. Why 21s are so effective for muscle growth is effort relative to failure. If you want to maximize your hypertrophy, we know that we need to train hard relative to failure, and going beyond failure has a lot of value. So if you only ever do full range of motion reps and then you stop at technical failure when you can't get your chin above the bar, you drop down, you're going to be leaving muscle growth on the table. There's so much evidence of stretch partials and this stretch mediated hypertrophy as a tool to maximize muscle growth. 21s have this embedded. You've done your full range reps and then you're going to beyond failure. We're going to muscular failure by doing those bottom range partials. So how do you change the difficulty of 21s? That's a great question, and it's important to get this right for every single person watching from beginner, intermediate to advanced. If 21s are too hard, just adjust the reps down. 18s or 15s are still a great way to stress your biceps to grow bigger. And it's not too low in the rep range where it's becoming overly strength demanding. Otherwise, you can always use band or machine assisted chin-ups to reduce your body weight so that regardless if you're a complete beginner, you can still be able to complete the 21s method in a way of your choosing. If it's too easy and you want to increase the challenge, you guessed it, raise the reps. 24s or even 27s will challenge even the most advanced lifter, especially if you're using proper technique. Please be mindful of tempo and how that modifies difficulty. You need to make it as hard as possible all the time. There's no shortcuts. The best results are when you push yourself. 21s only work if you work. And the best way to make that work with body weight is by slowing the tempo down. It's a real mental battle because the set lasts quite long. But if you just focus on using a controlled tempo, it doesn't have to be exaggerated. It doesn't have to be 8 seconds a rep. It just needs to be controlled and challenging. And you know this innately. Don't rush through the process. Slow the tempo down if you can manage it. Just make those 21s as hard as possible using speed to increase difficulty. For my savages watching fitness FAQs, feel free to add weight to your body. The sky is the limit here. You can play around with whatever rep range of 21s you want. You can add as much weight as your body can tolerate. Just don't sacrifice technique in the process when you're adding load to your chin-ups, because it's like an inverse continuum here. Add weight to your body, tempo tends to suffer. You need to find that sweet spot for you. It needs to be challenging, you need to have that time under tension, you need to have that rep quality, and you need to finish the set of 21s feeling tired. That's the key. So how many sets of 21s should you do? 1 set as a finisher after a pull workout is plenty. This assumes that you've already done multiple sets of vertical and horizontal pulls. So this is just a finisher in the respect of just completely demolishing your biceps, demolishing your back. 2 to 3 sets as a workout itself is plenty. If you tell me I need 5 sets of 21s to feel tired, it tells me a few things. 1, your technique's probably off. You're not doing that complete full range of motion. You're not doing the top and bottom range partials well. 2, your tempo is probably off. You're going too quick. Slow it down. Number 3, you could be adding weight to your body. You need more of a challenge. You're not truly getting technical or muscular failure with your 21s. Number 4, just do more reps. Do 888 or 999 to actually challenge yourself properly. What excites me about teaching you things like 21s is it can be applied to other muscles or movements. 21s are particularly effective for isolating the arms. That's why it was so popular for bicep curls. Just keep in mind when doing 21s, not all exercises are created equal. Some movements are more challenging at the bottom and some are more challenging at the top. Basically, Start with full range, then move on to the partial that's hardest, and then end with the partial that's easiest. Fun fact, I first made a video about 21s 12 years ago on my YouTube channel here. I remember discovering this method on a website called T Nation. And then I went outside into my backyard, busted out a set of 21s on chin-ups. My biceps were smoked and I knew that I had to share this with the world. And it's funny I'm doing that now 12 years later because I know it's going to be new to some of you watching. Final disclaimer, are 21s a magical method for increasing biceps growth? No, it's just an intensity technique to keep things fun. Any combo exercise like 21s won't be optimal at any one thing because of the fatigue. If your goal was strength, just doing low reps through a full range of motion or sticking point work in isolation is more effective. If you wanted to increase your chin-up reps, your endurance, doing AMRAPs through a full range of motion is going to improve that attribute. I don't say this to confuse you, just to clarify the trade-off when you're looking to spice things up. Thanks everyone for watching. Check out another Fitness FAQs video to keep leveling up.